Hola, and welcome to another Spanish lesson. In this lesson, we're going to learn all about introducing your family members and yourself. And so, one of the things that you want to note when you're introducing family, you want to take a look at the questions that you may be asked, and you also want to understand how you respond to the questions that you're asked. So there are two structures that we're going to be examining. One is going to involve the verb llamarse, and the other is going to involve the basic question that we can ask to introduce ourselves. Now, here is one question. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Now, ¿cuál es tu nombre is asking, what is your name? I want to point out that this tu does not have an accent, and in that case, it means your. Now, in answering this question, the response would be very simple. Me. And I always tell students that the clue to answering the question is in the question itself. And so you have tu. So tu is going to convert to me. So this becomes mi nombre es, whatever your name is, Ana. Now, the other structure that we're more familiar with for asking someone's name is ¿Cómo te llamas tú? Now, in answering this question, what you're going to be doing is picking up on your verb, which is te llamas, and you're going to be responding accordingly. So this also means, what is your name? And your response is going to be picking up on your verb. There's your verb. So your response is going to be mirroring the verb in a sense. So the flip for te llamas in responding to this question is going to be me llamo, whatever your name is. Now, let me point out something very quickly. There is a tendency for students to use the S in the me llamo. So they're always tempted to say me llamo es Ana or mi nombre Ana. I want to point out, pay attention to how the question is asked. If the question asks using the S, in the response, you use the S. If the question is asked and there's no S in the question, in the response, you do not need to insert S. The other thing I want to point out before I move on from this is if you want to demonstrate your knowledge of the language and you're asked, ¿Cuál es tu nombre? You can respond, me llamo, and it would be correct. Or, ¿Cómo te llamas tú? You can respond, mi nombre es, and it would still be correct. Let's get into the meat of the matter, what we really want to know. So we want to find out, how can persons ask the names of your family members and how you can respond? Now, being that it's you and someone else who is having a conversation and they're asking about a third person altogether, we would use the third person singular of the verb llamarse. So the question would look like this. ¿Cómo se llama? And here you could insert the family member. It could be su mamá, papá, hijo, hija, hermana, whatever the family member is, or rather whoever the family member is. That would be inserted at the end of the question, ¿Cómo se llama? And you insert whoever you want to know the name of. And the response would be, and again, use the question to pick out the elements to give you the answer. The response would be, so if we ask, ¿Cómo se llama su mamá? I always tell my students as well, for emphasis, insert your pronoun or your noun accordingly. Can't go wrong when you use them. So you would insert me. Because the counterpart for su here, su meaning your, is me. You wouldn't say your mother's name is. If someone asks you what is your mother's name, you would say my mother's name is. So mi mamá se llama, and you insert your mother's name. If you're using the other structure to give the answer to this question, you could also say el nombre de mi mamá es, and you insert your mother's name. So that goes for singular, if you're asking for the name of someone, one person, and if you're giving the name of one person. Let's look at one other quick thing. Suppose you want to know the names of more than one person. We would use the plural structure of llamarse. And so the question would look like this. ¿Cómo se llaman sus padres? And this is asking, what are the names of your parents, or what are your parents' names? And you would respond by saying, mis padres, same principle as above with mi mamá, mis padres se llaman, and you give both their names, Ana y Jorge, two persons. So remember, this applies to any member of the family. It could be your mother, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, your cousin, anyone. The title for the family member would be inserted after the como se llama. And then you would just have to pick up on that and respond accordingly. So in a nutshell, damas y caballeros, we have two structures that we can use if you want to introduce your family, or if you want to give information about your family in terms of their name. There are two ways to ask the name, and there are two ways to answer to the name. So, damas y caballeros, there you have it, introducing your family. Adios.